In a dimly lit room in a high-rise overlooking downtown Houston, Scarface leaned back in his chair, the weight of years of experience etched into the lines on his face. The walls were adorned with memorabilia from his storied career, but tonight they felt more like a prison than a tribute. He had seen the music industry from every angle: success, betrayal, and the unrelenting pressures of fame. But lately, he felt trapped in a narrative that wasn't his own. The whispers around town were growing louder, and the tension between him, J. Prince, and Master P was becoming impossible to ignore. Scarface had always respected J. Prince, the influential figure behind Rap-A-Lot Records, but recent conversations had left him feeling cornered. "He won't let me go," Scarface confided to his longtime friend and confidant, who sat across from him. "Jay thinks I owe him loyalty, but loyalty shouldn't feel like a noose around my neck." His friend nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "And Master P, what about him?" "Master P's stuck too," Scarface replied, frustration bubbling beneath his calm exterior. "He's got his own empire to protect. Jay-Z? He could step in, but he's scared. Fear runs deep in this game. Everyone's worried about who they might anger." As Scarface spoke, he thought of the old days, when camaraderie ruled the industry, but the landscape had changed, replaced by a constant struggle for power. He felt the urge to speak out, to expose the layers of fear and loyalty that shackled so many artists, but doing so could have dire consequences. He decided to take a risk. Scarface began to craft a track, one that would lay bare the struggles within the industry. The lyrics flowed, raw and unfiltered, touching on the fears that stifled creativity and the unspoken bonds that held artists captive. It was a bold move, but it felt necessary. As the beat dropped, he poured his soul into the music. This was more than just a song, it was a manifesto. Scarface knew that by exposing the truth, he might ignite a spark in others, encouraging them to break free from the chains of fear that bound them. When the track finally dropped, the reaction was immediate. Fans resonated with the message, and soon, artists from all corners of the industry began to voice their own struggles. Scarface had unwittingly started a movement, shining a light on the fears that often kept them silent. In the days that followed, the conversations shifted. J. Prince reached out, frustrated but curious about Scarface's newfound courage. Master P, too, felt the ripple effects, acknowledging the need for a change in the way artists navigated their careers. Scarface found himself at the center of an unexpected dialogue, one that went beyond music. He understood the risk of becoming a target for speaking out, but the potential for liberation was worth it. With each new artist finding their voice, he felt a sense of purpose igniting within him. In the end, Scarface realized that fear could only hold power over those willing to be silent. By exposing the truth, he had taken the first step toward redefining what it meant to be an artist in a world driven by fear. The industry was changing, and Scarface was at the forefront of that transformation, ready to inspire a new generation to rise above the shadows. As the movement gained momentum, Scarface found himself in the spotlight more than ever. The track that had stirred so much conversation was being played on every radio station, its lyrics echoing the sentiments of countless artists who had felt voiceless for too long. Scarface received calls from old friends, new allies, and even some unexpected figures within the industry, all eager to share their experiences. One afternoon, Scarface met up with a rising star, a young rapper named Jada, who had taken inspiration from his song. She was fearless, her eyes sparkling with determination as she shared her story. "I was scared to speak out about my label's control over my music," she said, her voice steady. "But hearing you made me realize I'm not alone. We can't keep living in fear." Scarface smiled, feeling a sense of pride. Jada represented the future, and he saw in her the potential to ignite even greater change. Together, they brainstormed ideas for a collaborative project that would amplify the voices of other artists facing similar struggles. As they worked, Scarface received a message from J. Prince. It was a simple text: "Let's talk." Scarface knew this conversation would be crucial. He was determined to stand his ground, but also recognized the importance of dialogue. That evening, they met in a private studio, the atmosphere thick with unspoken tension. Jay Prince entered, his presence commanding, but there was a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes. "I've been thinking about what you said in your track," he began, pacing the room. "This industry can be cutthroat, and I've had to make choices to protect my people. But I see the fear you're talking about. It's suffocating us all." Scarface nodded, appreciating the honesty. "We need to change the narrative. We can't let fear dictate our futures." The two men spent hours discussing the pressures of the industry, their own experiences, and how they could collaborate to foster a culture of support rather than intimidation. They agreed to host a summit, bringing together artists from various backgrounds to share their stories and strategize for change. As word spread about the summit, excitement buzzed through the community. Artists who had long felt isolated began reaching out to Scarface, eager to participate. The event attracted a diverse crowd, established legends, emerging talent, and even those from genres outside hip-hop, all united by a common goal. On the day of the summit, Scarface stood before a packed room, feeling a mixture of nerves and exhilaration. He took a deep breath and opened the floor to stories of struggle and triumph. As each artist shared their journey, the atmosphere shifted from one of fear to empowerment. Laughter mixed with tears as they bonded over shared experiences and the realization that they were not alone. By the end of the day, Scarface could see the transformation taking place. The artists were eager to collaborate, create, and uplift one another, breaking free from the chains that had bound them for so long. It was a powerful moment, one that felt like a rebirth for many in the room. The summit ignited a series of grassroots initiatives aimed at supporting artists. Mentorship programs, financial literacy workshops, and platforms for independent releases. Scarface and Jay Prince, once seen as gatekeepers, were now advocates for change, using their influence to reshape the industry landscape. As the months passed, Scarface watched as artists began to reclaim their narratives. Jada released her debut album, infused with the spirit of the movement, and it quickly gained traction. Her voice resonated with fans, encouraging others to share their stories. Scarface felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing he had played a part in fostering a new era of creativity and collaboration. However, shadows still loomed. As the movement grew, so did the pushback from those entrenched in the old ways. Scarface began receiving threats, whispers of retaliation from those who felt threatened by the change. But he refused to back down. The movement was bigger than him now, and he was ready to fight for it. With Jay Prince and Master P by his side, they devised a plan to address the challenges ahead. They knew that fear would always exist in the industry, but together, they could create a new narrative, one that embraced vulnerability and solidarity. In the heart of Houston, as the sun set behind the skyline, Scarface felt a renewed sense of hope. The voices of countless artists were rising, louder than ever, drowning out the fear that had once held them captive. Together, they were forging a new path, one that honored the past while boldly stepping into the future.